What's going on, folks? Many of you are at work today. You're probably about to get off and you're ready to hit the door. Feeling good, on that Friday, because that's the best day of the week. Now, let me ask you guys on the same foot, same line of questioning, what is the worst day of the week for you guys? Many of you are going to say Monday. And I did a video a while back called the MMBS. Monday morning, you fill in the blank. BS. Same thing that you deal with every Monday. Same people, same bosses, same activities, same drama. So you come to a place in your mind where you realize that this may not be the right job for you. And you're probably right. And the reason why is because you've had maybe many years there, right, to assess the scene and look at all your coworkers and also measure your own potentials. Where are you going with this job, right? Is there room for an advancement? Some jobs are dead end just by default, and that's fine too, but if you're not allowed to come to those jobs and just work that forklift or whatever manual labor you're doing and go home and you have to worry about the games that are being played, that creates a problem for that type of environment. Okay, so we're going to talk about the two types of jobs, right? And the same type of toxic behavior that affects both situations. So on this forklift job, there's a clear cut of set of instructions when you were hired about what they want you to do. You have some specific skills. You know how to use forklifts and operate heavy machinery and stuff like that. And so therefore, you're going to take direction from someone and you're going to do certain things and certain tasks to get through the day, right? But when you have that boss who's hell-bent on playing a game, right, because they have the power, because narcissism, is starting to really, really impact the workplace on a level that we need to talk about this a lot and get it out in the open. But this boss may have this particular person doing duties that they weren't originally hired for, and some of these duties may be backbreaking. And when you take a job, there's a respectable amount of work that may be added on, right, to get the job done or cover the objective or stuff. And I get that, but these bosses will literally go completely outside of your job description and have you doing certain things. So if you drive a forklift, they may have you in the office doing spreadsheets, right, just to be funny. You don't know anything about the budgets. You don't know anything about any of these things, but they'll have you sitting at a desk somewhere because you're filling in or something, right? Or they don't feel like doing it, so they'll delegate that paperwork to you. You may do a little bit of stuff like that, right? But you don't know enough to complete the job properly. And that's part of the game. And so what will happen on that end is after you've done that work and completed that task, you'll find that you did it completely wrong, right? You didn't have any coaching. So they'll charge you about that. And you'll feel really bad, self-esteem wise, about your performance. And they know that you care about your job, and that's why, you're going to try harder. But they're going to keep moving the goalposts. And this is what they do on these jobs. Okay? That being said, let's piggyback and go into the other, administrative jobs or office jobs, if you will. Same deal, same type of boss. Doesn't matter what the task is. I keep telling you guys, they're all a bunch of tasks. You're all just going to work. Doesn't matter if you're the CEO or if you're, a low level, janitor or something. Doesn't really matter because you work for a business. That business is generating money that can pay both of your salaries. Okay, but in this case, it's the same deal where they'll have that office person doing all of the work, right? They'll sit around in their cubicle and they'll notice that all of their coworkers and cohorts seem to have time for gossip and, surfing the net and, all types of things, because they're in with the boss and, you're the target. So you'll find yourself taking that extra, brunt of that workload. That person next to you may make $20,000 more than you, but you don't see how they're worth that money when you do more work than they do, right? Sometimes you have the identical job and then they'll just give this person a bump as far as like their title or status or something to get them more perks or something. And that's all favoritism and nepotism and all of that other foolishness that goes on when you have incompetence working a job. Because you'll find that in these office environments, that many of the people you work with are completely incompetent. And you go, well, how in the heck did they get this job? Because they were walked in, folks. I've seen in my lifetime in offices, I've seen people get jobs shoved down their throat, literally. That dud is sitting at the desk and, you know, geeked out or something, just chilling, sitting back. And the boss who has picked them for something, maybe they're flying monkey characteristics or something or whatever involved, and they will pick that person. That person doesn't have a choice. So you'll see this bumbling coworker that you have, you know, become your boss overnight. You know more than them. You train them on their job. I've talked about this many times. And you'll get really frustrated. And that's why you're starting to think about your exit plans. And you need to have those plans in place. But today we're talking about why. The reasons why you would want to leave your job. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be shoveling shit. Right? And in that case, there'll be another situation set in place. Right? That'll make you want to leave that environment. You know? A lot of you in this hard economy, you don't want to quit your jobs because, you know, you need that money. You got kids to take care of. You got bills to pay. You know that there's someone else that can step up and take that job easily. And they'll pay that person less. And so all of the hard work that you've built up over the years, maybe in a salary or something, you're not getting what you're supposed to be getting paid. But maybe you've done enough to get enough money to halfway sustain your living, which is another issue. I mean, see how these boxes keep opening up, folks? I mean, there's so many layers to this shit. You know, you're working a job and they're not paying you properly. I talked about this in videos because narcissism rules in the workplace, right? That bad boss is so bad that you're not a person, which is what it comes down to. Respecting you as a human being. You're not a robot. So you'll find yourself in the office on the weekends, or you'll find yourself at the plant, you know, working the steamrollers on the weekend, right? Everyone else is off. They'll come to you on Friday evening and ask you, even though you had plans to go to the beach, take the kids to the beach or something, they'll come to you and they'll say, hey, can you work tomorrow? A full shift, right? 7 in the morning to whatever. We really need you, blah, blah, blah. At the last minute, completely. They knew about this a week ago, but the game was to tell you at the last moment, right? Last minute change of your plans that you got to do. Tell your wife, tell the kids, you know, my job really needs me there. And then that's going to start a problem in your household. See? Because your wife is going to be like, well, why don't you tell them to, you know, they didn't give you notice or anything. And that's right. She's right. She's absolutely right. But in a narcissistic environment, they will set up, you know, the game in such a way that you don't have the option of telling them no. Or they'll make you feel like that. Right? So you're a prisoner. You're going to work every day with this Monday morning blues on Tuesday or Wednesday. And you have that blues all week. You're not motivated on your jobs, right? So you're doing your work. It's probably the same job you've done for years. But you find yourself feeling burnt out. You're tired. You get home and it seems like a rat race. You get home. You got enough time to look over some presentation or to get yourself ready for tomorrow, right? And then you hit the bed. And the alarm clock is going off first thing in the freaking morning. You're throwing that alarm clock across the room because you can't deal with this. All right? Because you don't want to go to work on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday because you're tired of the same bullshit. Right? You know, you're not getting paid properly. They're throwing all these jobs on you. You know, you could work in an office. And I've seen extreme cases where people have left jobs based on the boss being unfair completely with that job description thing. So you work in the office and then the boss comes up to you with a can of spray paint and wants you to, you know, spray paint the side of the building or something. Even though they have foremen and people who actually work for the company who do this, the game is to degrade you. So now you're in dress shoes and shit and dress slacks, spray painting the building or something. See? To show you, I'm over you, right? I can tell you what to do. I run your life. They think that, but they don't. A lot of them are lost in their spirits. That's another video. We'll get into that. And they're going to get karma for these things. But when you live your lives in a way where you just think that your days are promised. You're making all of this money. You have control over these people. I can do what I want. I can treat people how I want. You don't realize that you're not the higher power here. You think you are. Your life, your mere breath you take, right, that you breathe every day, there's something higher that's responsible for those things, for you guys living every day, the breath of life in you, right? So you seek to take away or drain other people from their vibrant life force. That's what you do every single day. Bad things, you know. And they'll figure out these little games to play to not pay you properly by, you know, never clearly defining what your job is or what your role is for the company. You know, they'll blur that line. So you'll get evaluations and stuff, and you'll find out, you'll see that they pretty much left off everything. You'll look at your job description. They'll see that they have pretty much left off everything. Maybe you're delegating some things. Maybe you're doing paperwork. Maybe you're meeting. Maybe you're doing things for the senior bosses. Whatever that may be. But it'll never translate to your job description in any form, because to put that on there is to give you some measure of confidence about why you should be paid more money. See? So they can keep you stagnant in that position and not pay you more or nothing. Meanwhile, you're doing all of the work and they're stacking work up on you and shit while they sit at their desk and not do anything. You also have to deal with flying monkey coworkers, which may make you want to leave. You'll have those jealous coworkers all around you who will consistently worry about how much work you're doing. They don't do anything, right? No one's telling them that they have to work harder or they get to fuck off all day. You watch this. You walk around your job and see this every day. These people fuck off. But yet those same people who are jealous of you can simply go to your boss and say, he's not doing any work. And your boss will literally try to appease these folks by hurting you or doing something to you just to be in good graces with people who are their underlings. Right? So that person can feel like, yeah, you're really working that guy or that girl or something. And they'll literally be happy that they got the boss to get you to do some work. So the boss will have you doing things you don't even supposed to be doing. Meanwhile, everybody else is sitting around enjoying themselves. It's a light day or something. But you're doing all of the work because the boss needs to make sure they have their thumb on your neck, because that's what everyone expects. All of your enemies, your flying monkey cohorts, the people who are jealous of you, the people who are mad because you may make more money than them, even though you've probably been there 10 or 15 years longer than them, why wouldn't you make more money? But in a distorted mind, folks, people do things for the most trivial reasons. They're very petty. You'll find in a culture, like I said, a whole team of narcissists in higher positions, right? And flying monkey lower positions and all types of, you know, positions around this job. You'll find the same types of people, same behavioral traits and everything. And they all work together to disenfranchise you. So when you get to a point where you're having Monday morning blues throughout the week, you need to go. That's one of your indicators, right? When you don't really care about the job or what they do anymore, you need to go. Because see, you're in a place where you've become so numb that none of the games affect you anymore. You've seen it all, right? That boss will send you your schedule. They'll shorten your hours or something, and you may have to go back to them to have that adjusted so you can get paid properly for the week. See, all of these things, I think, just imagine someone working you to the bone, to the core, and you are burnt the fuck out, literally, right? And then you get your schedule or your paycheck or something, you see that the boss has purposely, deliberately shorted your hours, and you're in here going through all of this stuff. So they got you working, like I said, there's the famous game of all week long, 10 days or something, and they're having you come in 3 hours each day so they can stretch that out so you can get your 40 hours or something, but you're only working 3 hours each day. And you never get a day off. You don't have time for your children. You don't have time to do anything. Like I said in another video, wash your car or take care of some personal business or anything. You don't have time for any of that stuff. Now, interesting, those same bosses will have time for everything, anything that they need, right? You may have a job, and this is how you know that they're trying to keep you from advancing. And that's part of the game, because it's part of their insecurity of keeping you down so you can't rise above them, you know? But they'll have these things where, you know, they may short you on, like, you know, some of your learning experiences, some of these courses and stuff that are offered, right? Your job may provide, you know, training, additional training for some field that you would like to get into, and your boss will make a concerted effort to keep you away from that. They'll tell you your job comes first. They'll schedule you in ways that won't accommodate you being able to meet this class or something, or just do all types of stuff. Then you'll find out, a couple of months later, you'll find out through the grapevine that they're going to that class. You see what I'm talking about? So they're literally telling you that your job comes first, but somehow it doesn't apply to them. See? You see how narcissism works, folks? You see how this works? Okay? Every time you look at something they do, it'll be based on some low-level characteristic that's going on in their heart or their mind, how they feel about things, right? They don't value your opinion. They'll steal your ideas. I mean, there's just so many things that will push you out of the door in a toxic workplace environment. And then the important thing here, because we'll get to the really important stuff, and I won't go around in circles, but the really important thing here is to understand, folks, why you need to leave this job. I know many people who are still at their jobs and really want to get the hell out of there because they're dealing with all of these factors. They're not getting paid enough. They're getting work stacked up on them. The boss is making them a target. They have to deal with toxic coworkers who spy on them and report back about what they aren't doing, or people who want their jobs, and they have to constantly fight every day. Excuse me. Imagine going to work every day, you know, sword and shield in tow, because you have to fight a battle every day. There are people who live for this drama, who come to work simply to create this drama for other people. And then there's people who mind their business, and, you know, you'll see them quietly sitting over at their desk or something, not, you know, just trying to get through the day, doing their work or minding their business, not staying out of gossip and slanderous things and stuff like that. And these are the good people. But these are the main people that will leave. The job doesn't care. If you guys see a high turnover rate, if you notice that people come in the door and they go out really fast, that's a red flag, folks. Which means that the higher structures are all crazy, and they're not willing to change that toxic atmosphere nor do they understand the importance of having good employees. Because really, at the end of the day, they'll look up and all of the people around them will be low-life scumbags who are lazy and bumbling. And just imagine you trying to run a business. Then they're going to get rolled. See how the karma works? You get rid of all of these good people because you're playing a game, and you're appointing people and your cronies. You're putting them in people's jobs, and, you know, you're planning on firing somebody. You're plotting because you got a friend who wants to get their job. Your friend isn't worth shit. And all of these things happen. Then you turn around and look up, and your whole entire job scene, you know, minus you, are a bunch of narcissists and fools and assholes, right? You're doing all of the work because you're covering many of these fools and assholes. So when you decide that you had enough of this shit and you walk out of the door, they laugh. They go, oh, okay. And they think it's funny. But then they realize all of the times that you stayed late, all of the times that you went that extra mile to do the work, to get the job done, all of those great attributes that you had and possessed for them. And now they can't replicate that in any of these low-level people because they're all just like them. You get what I'm saying? So then they'll have to fucking all team up together to do one job that you did by yourself. I've known that happen. I remember there was a woman I knew in the office. When she left, they put 3 people to do her job. Imagine that. They didn't feel they should pay her more money when she was there. But then when she leaves, they hired 3 people to do her job. Think about how crazy that is. 3 different salaries to do one job. You know what I mean? So you'll find yourselves looking at these things from a scientific standpoint, right? Just imagine a $60,000 a year salary times 3, right? Versus you paying that same person a couple of thousand more, maybe 10,000 something more, and everything is fine, right? You've settled something. That person feels like you're rewarding them for their hard work, blah 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 blah. You see what I mean? But when you do it the other way, it shows you don't have an appreciation for business. It shows that you don't respect the company. The company has a budget. But see, because you have so many scumbag, lowlifes at this job. Even the higher up people, they just want to have fun. They just want to come to work and toss their weight around. They don't want to understand the money or the budget. So they'll justify in their minds. It makes sense to hire 3 incompetent people rather than pay that one person that was getting everything done and was literally had the will and the mindset and the heart to want to complete the job. You know? So now you're in a between a rock and a hard place because your best friends are now working here. They have these jobs. So now you can't tell them to do extra work, or all of the games you were playing on that other target or something. You can't play it on your friends because they're just like you. They're going to quit. They're not going to do that. So you're going to keep turning over people. And no one in corporate or HR is saying, if they're not saying this, then something's wrong. There's a culture of craziness. If no one's saying, hold on, y'all keep turning over people. Every time we look, every couple of months, y'all lose a third of your staff or something. No one is questioning these things. Right? And that's how you know. You know, you can feel it out. You can look at the environment. You can look at what type of people. You can be at a job for a short while and see people advance that shouldn't be there. And you know that because you're quietly watching their work ethic. Or what they may have told you themselves about how they don't do shit or they're not trying to do shit or something. And then you'll turn around, they're someone's boss. And you're like, what? You know? So those are the reasons, folks, for, you know, not staying at a job. You have so much going on in your life. If it's robbing you of creative energies and, you know, things that you really want to do, if you find yourself daydreaming on the shift, you know, you need to get out. Do something else, right? Even if you don't want to do anything else, you just want a peace of mind. You're going to have to start thinking about this environment that you're in and why you have to cancel this environment. And stay away from the people in that environment because the toxic energies that they possess inside are jumping off and getting into you and affecting your personal life and your work life, and you're always tired, and your actual physical health and all of these things. Many people have heart attacks due to this stress. And that's what they want. The narcissists at this job, these bosses, they want you to go down, right? They live for pain. It's so exciting to watch people crumble. You know, until higher energy steps on them and crumbles them and curses them. Love to see it. I love bad behavior, folks. But what I really like is a complete exit plan, an assessment of the job that you're working at currently, an assessment of the coworkers and bosses of the place you're currently working, to get an understanding of what you're willing to put up with or not, and to head out the door when necessary, because life is too short and there's too much valuable time that you've been wasting at these jobs and these dead-end situations. Okay? You guys, go over to my website, thinkbehavior.info, pick up my book, I Love Bad Behavior, right? You can pick that book up on Amazon, gotta say that. And, you know, like and share the videos, you know, and subscribe to the channel, because this is why I'm doing this, right? I don't know what some of you out there, what your motivations are. My motivation is simply the fact that I realize we live in a world full of dysfunctional people, and those people consistently seek out targets, and that's why we need justice. Okay? Take care.